Hi guys, Fernandes, Lembo on the grid.
Yep.
And then there was one, John. We talked about last week, softball, baseball. Let's get right to it.
Sure.
5A3 regional finals. You wrote that great story about Booker, about a team going forth with 11 players.
Right.
We ran through a great picture. Mark Potter of Melbourne Central Catholic lost 10-0. Just talk about your impressions talking to the team. And Jeremy Schmidt, you mentioned earlier, he's going to be your choice for probably Coach of the Year, right?
And his name is Mark Potter, for those of us not from Massachusetts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just a great year. I mean, 11 guys on the team.
Right.
And you think about it, that's what, 2 guys on the bench per game. I think they had more coaches than they had guys on the bench. And just a great story. Booker baseball hadn't been this far since 1999.
Right.
Hadn't won a district championship in about, 12, 13 years. So, yeah, a great story. A great group of guys. So they have some younger classmen. James Bolden's a sophomore, had a great year. So so this could be the start of something special. And Jeremy Schmidt really has done a great job with that program. And hopefully, from the size of the team in terms, the kids will see what the team did this year. Maybe more kids will come out. Because success does breed more enthusiasm and more kids come out for the baseball team.
5-19. His first, he took over a team that was 5-19 and slowly developed into winner.
They won 21 games this year,
good pedigree, too. His high school career also.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I was at the game last night, 7-8-3. Venice just keeps rocking and rolling.
What a shock. Venice is back in the Final Four.
5th straight Final Four appearance. After the 13-0 win over Brandon, Craig Faulkner gave me an interesting statistic. He said not since the 50s has a Florida public high school advanced to 5 straight Final Fours. And they just did it with Caleb Williams. You mentioned before the regional quarters, semis, no runs allowed. He was a starter in all of those games.
It's unreal, yeah.
And they faced a guy who's going to USF, and they hammered him around, and Brandon really couldn't touch Caleb Williams. Faulkner's got a great machine down there.
And just reading your story, too, it sounds like Brandon was kind of loose and fast with the baseball, made some errors. And you can't do that against Venice with the way they pitch and the way they put the bat in the ball. So, I mean, but 3 straight regional games to not allow a run. They beat Naples, #1 team in the state, shut them out. You mentioned Brandon. Their great pitcher shut them out. So, now it's back to Fort Myers with the Venice Indians.
They looked like a team yesterday, even though they were playing at Brandon's home field, that had been in those kind of environments before. They caught every ball, and Brandon made 3 errors on ground balls and throws in 1 inning, and I'm like, this team doesn't belong on the same field. They go down there and play Jacksonville Creekside, 25-5, 5 shutouts in their last 6 games. So it's going to be interesting to see what Faulkner's offense does down at JetBlue Park. Any surprise now that one team remaining and it's Venice? There's really no surprises given their pedigree, right?
Not really, no. And the fact that they've made 5 straight Final Fours, that's like one whole graduating class plus one. It's unbelievable. And you mentioned a team at Creekside, a lot of shutouts. That kind of plays maybe into Venice's hands because I don't think Craig Faulkner and Venice, they want to get in a slugfest. They want to get in the games where it's their arms versus your arms, and they think their arms are better. So that should be an interesting matchup next Thursday when they play at JetBlue Park
at 10 a.m. One thing about Venice, everyone on their team can play small ball. If you're 1 through 9, everybody can get that bunt down, and those kind of things contribute to a winning program. We really should revisit softball. We had 2 teams, a title game and the semifinal game. Bayshore and Braden River both losing. We talked about Miriam Schmoll, but you're not going to win when you make 6 errors in a game. And that's what Frank Luther said. You take away those errors, maybe it's a 1-0 game. And reading Dennis Maffezoli's story, it seemed like Coral Springs Charter knew coming in maybe that the defense was one of the weaknesses of Bayshore's team, so they wanted to get, I think his quote was hit the ball in the clay, make them catch it. They didn't catch it, put some pressure on Bayshore defensively. But hey, I mean, Bayshore made a state championship game 2 years ago. They got to the Final Four, lost the semifinal. Last year with Small's injury, didn't make it out of regional. So, a pretty good season for Bayshore. Only problem is they lose LaShara James and JoJo Muldoon, 2 of their better players. They return Miriam Schmoll next year. And in softball, we discussed, you can build around a really good pitcher. So, we'll see if they match or maybe surpass what they did this season. Obviously the errors play a factor in that, but apparently reading Dennis's story, Coral Springs wasn't even expecting. They had to get a late game scouting report on Bayshore, which shows that really no one expected Frank
Bayshore beat Baker County, the defending champion. Really handling pretty. I think it was 5-1 was the final. Handled them pretty well. And Miriam Schmoll did a great job against that lineup. We talked about how I think Baker County hit 34 home runs coming in. They only hit 1 off Miriam Schmoll and Bayshore. So, obviously you want to win a state championship game, but for a Bayshore Bruins program that until a few years ago never made the Final Four, 2 Final Fours in the last 3 years, 1 state championship game. So, we'll see if this, like the Booker game, we'll see if this leads to more and more girls at Bayshore wanting to play softball, kind of, push this thing forward.
You need hope. You have that sort of success to hang your hat on.
Right, exactly.
Get more girls out.
Yeah.
And again, in the 7A semifinal, Braden River had a great year.
Right.
Had been averaging 10 runs a game. They go up against his future
pitcher,
Gator, Katie Chronister, allowed 3 hits, no runs. But I read some of the quotes. It's amazing what can get into some athletes' head, maybe girls, maybe boys. They went into that, Baden River went into that game knowing that this girl was going to Gainesville.
Right.
And it got into their head before they had faced one throw from this girl.
That can happen.
Already it's in your head that this girl's going to play college ball. How are we going to hit her? Well, why don't you get on the field and maybe face her a couple of times and find out?
Yeah, that could be easier said than done, though. Then you see her warm up and stuff. So I think intimidation does play a factor sometimes.
I had no trouble in girls' fast pitch softball. I took a couple over the fence every season.
I don't doubt it.
You don't doubt it?
I don't doubt it. But, yeah, maybe you're right. But, like I said, it could be easier said than done. And look, in the next game, she struck out 9 more against Lake Region, beat them 1-0. So I think she's the real deal. I think 273 strikeouts I put in my numbers game column, which is still on htpreps.com if you want to read that. Sure. So, I mean, she's the real deal, and I think whether they were intimidated or not, it would have been tough getting 10 runs off a girl like that.
Now, speaking about real deal, your numbers column is the real deal.
Oh, thank you.
You use pertinent numbers and you stay on point.
I try.
I like that. Hey, you were at the track and field at IMG. Obviously, Lakewood Ranch, whether it's Ryan, Sophie Falco, Brad Miller for Sarasota. Just talk about what your impressions are.
Well, Lakewood Ranch won the 4A girls team title, and it's funny because Lakewood Ranch in the past was known for their distance runners. Right. Olivia Ortiz, Kristen Zarella, Devin McDermott, and this year they win it without any points in the distance part of it. Sophia Falco had 30 points by herself. She would have finished 6th by herself if she would have competed alone. But Reed Ryan's new to the high jump, wins the state title. Christine Acrofold got them points. Olivia Ogles, Cree Lauderer in the pole vault. So, yeah, it was really a team effort. And Mark Napier, the head coach at Lakewood Ranch, had been building toward this. He wanted a full, versatile team that was superb in the track and the field events. He got it, and they're the 4A state champions. First year in 4A, too, for Lakewood Ranch.
That's unbelievable.
Right. And you mentioned Brad Miller from Sarasota. He won the 2 mile. Also won a state championship in cross country, and he got 2 third-place medals. Manatee's 400 relay team, that was a great race. Cavius Price in the anchor position. They finished that race in 41.7 seconds. Great career for Cavius. Also finished 3rd in the 100 and 200 dashes. So it was really a great weekend for the local teams at IMG Academy.
Yeah, I was going to dovetails into what I was going to ask you about. We got a letter from a parent of a Braden River high jumper who said the traffic out there was unreal. There was no traffic control. There was backed up all the way to Bayshore High School, 2 lanes funneling into one. She saw athletes, teams of athletes, getting out of their cars and running to make their events.
I saw the same thing.
Now, logistically, that's not IMG's responsibility. That's the FHSAA planning and coordinating an event, right? And what changes do you think they have to make going forward if they want to host this thing again next year?
I mean, I don't know how they can maybe increase the access.
I mean, it was, Nick Bolteri Boulevard, that back road.
I was stuck.
Not.
I know very well. I sat on them for about an hour. I know.
Yeah,
it was tough, and I don't know whose fault it was necessarily. Yeah. I just think it's logistics. You're trying to cram 7,000 people into a 1-lane road, and believe me, I took a picture from the infield. Right. That's on my Twitter account at John Lembo 1878. If you want to check that out. And
what number? What's the significance of that number, by the way?
It's my birthday.
Your birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
So, so by the afternoon of Friday for the prelims, the stadium was packed. Right. So there was already 7,000 people, and that's not counting the people around the fence. So I just think it was tough trying to, shoehorn all those people into a 1-2-lane road. They've had that at college, University of North Florida the last couple of years, which seats about 12,000. Maybe that was more equipped. I thought the event itself was really well run. Right. I thought IMG did a good job. Running the actual event, it was quick. But, yeah, the traffic on Friday, especially on Friday, was a big concern.
Well, I think they got to look at that looking forward. They have to expect that the parents and athletes around the state are going to be coming to this venue.
I talked to one woman who said that, between the line for traffic and the line to get her tickets, she missed one of her kids' events.
Right, exactly.
So when stuff like that happens, maybe a change needs to be made. But, we'll see.
We'll see next year.
Going forward.
And we'd always like to close off with our athlete of the week. And who is it this week, John Lembo?
I believe it was Kelsey Ogilvie from Bay.
The daughter of who?
The coach, DJ Ogilvie, football coach,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You win our prize. I don't know what it is. Will be determined later.
Great.
Lemon Bay track and field distance. Junior won the 3,200 meter run. Second in the 1,600 meter run at the region meet.
And she also was a medal on the relay team at state.
Exactly. A lot of votes cast. Maybe this touting of the athlete of the week is picking up steam. Almost 18,000 votes cast. Now 17,000 by her dad, but 7,001, and she's our athlete of the week.
Pretty impressive number.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. So what do we got going forward? We got football. We got 30 seconds in football. What can we talk about in football?
They're out there practicing.
Right.
and games start next week.
Next week.
Yep.
What game you got?
We'll see.
We'll see. How many more episodes of this we got?
At least one, because Venice plays for a state championship next weekend.
And hopefully we'll be talking about it. Maybe get Craig Faulkner on the phone.
Maybe we'll do that.
The phone good.
Yeah.
So for John Lembo, I'm Doug Fernandes. We'll see you next week on the Grid.